What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about my health complications surrounding my substance use disorder, and this is something that I have kept private because I am allowed to keep things private, but I wanted to share it because I feel like so many of you guys can relate to what I'm about to say and discuss in this video. If you are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has lived a crazy life, and my entire life story is in the description box down below. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel where you can see me doing vlog stuff like going to Vegas and getting a puppy and all kinds of stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this today. So I struggled with substance use disorder for a very long time, almost 10 years, and that started with alcohol. As I've shared on this channel many times, I started with alcohol. Alcohol turned into pill addiction turned into heroin addiction, heroin turned into meth, and eventually I was using intravenously. My arms for a long time were completely covered in tracks. I've had the most disgusting scars. So there was a time in my life where I would shoot through these bumps in my arm, like abscessed almost, where my injection site would like bubble up, where I would miss and it would just get all disgusting, and I would shoot through that. And over time, I decided to cover my arm in tattoos because it was like a way of kind of taking back my body, and so that I didn't see those scars, and so that I wasn't every single day reminded of my past. I had them all over my hands and my arms and everywhere, and now I don't. And now I turned my very ugly and disturbing and triggering past into beautiful artwork, and my tattoos mean everything to me, and they've helped me be more confident and comfortable in my own skin, but for a long time, they did not. So I have hepatitis C. Now, the good news is that I was diagnosed. My genotype and the kind of hep C that I had was 100% curable and treatable, and after 12 weeks, there is no more hep C in my body. However, I think this is a really important conversation to have. This is a health complication that is so unbelievably common for intravenous users, and I don't think that it's talked about enough on this platform. After a decade-long addiction and intravenous use, my body went through a lot of damage. When I was arrested last time in Arkansas, I was like 90 pounds. I was really skinny, not drinking water, not taking care of my body. I was shooting meth all day, every day. And the damage that I was doing to myself was just so awful. And when I found out about hepatitis C, I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. I couldn't believe that I allowed that to happen to me. Don't do that to yourself. I think those that struggle with substance use disorder put so much guilt and shame on ourselves, you know, and we shouldn't. It's not our fault that we became addicted to a substance, just like our trauma is not our fault. However, it is our responsibility to heal. So it was my responsibility to go to the doctor, get diagnosed, get tested, because hepatitis C does not show up in your typical blood test. It was my responsibility to make sure that I was healthy. So it is my responsibility to heal. And not just physically, but mentally as well. You know, I have gone through a lot of things, as many of us have. A lot of you guys struggle with substance use disorder. A lot of you guys struggle with mental health, or you have family members that struggle. And I felt so ashamed and embarrassed for a really long time because of this diagnosis. And I just think that we should stop beating ourselves up. Addiction is a very difficult and grueling thing. So when you recover and you find recovery, it's a lifelong process to feel comfortable in your skin, to make sure that you're consistently healthy, to get these tests so that you can, you know, get the treatment for them or do preventative care and really take care of your body after years and years of damage. And I'm just very grateful that we now can cure hepatitis C. It's not an incurable thing. After 12 weeks of medication, you can potentially be hepatitis free. Now, there are different kinds of hepatitis. Some different variations of hepatitis clear up on their own, some do not, some require medication. It's all up to your body and what kind of hepatitis you have. And how long you've had it and how much damage has been done to your body, you know. So just for me, I had to go get blood work, a lot of blood work. They had to do ultrasounds of my organs, and this is something that you're gonna have to do a lot if you are diagnosed with hepatitis C. You're gonna have to do a lot of blood work. You're gonna have to do a lot of ultrasounds so that they can make sure that there is no damage to your body. And even years later, that's gonna come up in your mind when something doesn't feel right. You're gonna be a little on edge about it, if that makes sense. So for me, this is something that I've been worried about for a long time. Even though I had the medicine, took the medicine, and I'm okay, it's still in my head, it's still in my brain, you know. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, I have anxiety, so I over worry about things. So if I'm feeling really sluggish or I'm not feeling 100%, I always think back to, you know, hepatitis was draining my energy because my body was trying to fight off, you know, this thing going on, and you know, I had to go see a doctor and get medication. So I don't know if any of that just made sense, but for me, I just get really anxious about things like that. So especially when it comes to my substance use disorder and how that affected my body long term, that's something that is kind of just always weighing on me, if that makes sense. So even now that I am all better, I still see a doctor regularly, and I still am like on edge, like, are you guys sure? Are you sure it's gone? Are you sure I'm okay? That's just my anxiety. I'm sharing this video so that maybe someone out there will have the courage to ask their doctor for that test. For me personally, I put it off way longer than I should have. I was afraid to ask my doctor for the hepatitis C test because I didn't want to know. I was so scared they were gonna say, yes, you have Hep C, and then I don't know, I just felt so much shame and judgment around it, and I was just afraid to ask. But it's something that if you're an intravenous user, or if you've had tattoos in a janky ass apartment at 16, go ask for that test. It's not gonna show up on routine blood work, and I just wanna encourage you to go see a doctor if you've lived the kind of life that I've lived. I can't believe that I was so afraid for so long. I mean, it was years into my recovery that I had the courage to go ask my doctor for that specific test. And, you know, again, I'm gonna just keep saying it. As someone in long-term recovery, I put a lot of judgment on myself. I was embarrassed, and I didn't want to speak up, and I didn't want to say something when it's literally just a blood test and a 12-week-long medication if you have the same genotype as me and like if the same Hep C as me. Obviously I'm not a doctor. I'm not a specialist. I'm not a gastroenterologist. I don't understand every single thing about hepatitis C. But I just want to encourage you to reach out and go see a doctor. So I also wanted to be honest with Reese about what was going on in my body. You know, this was an important thing, and back when I was tested, he was there for me and held my hand, and he was just really supportive and encouraging. The medication will make you feel kind of tired and will make you feel drained, but more often than not, I believe you can just take the medication. It's 12 weeks long. And you're good to go. I feel like this has been a little bit rambly, but again, I struggled for a long time, and I'm now 9 years sober. I never in a million years thought that I would find recovery. I never thought I'd be comfortable and confident in my own skin. And now 9 years into my recovery, I feel so good physically. I feel very healthy. And a lot of that comes from mental health, treatment for my mental health, and just time. When I was first in recovery, I felt so just uncomfortable and awkward. I would sit like this all the time. I don't know if you guys can see. I would sit like this all the time. It was just how I sat so that my track marks were not showing. And that was so freaking embarrassing, but I didn't know any other way. So if I was wearing a t-shirt back in my active addiction, I would cover my arms the best that I could with my hands. You know, most of the time I was wearing long sleeves, or I'd put makeup on my arms to try to hide what I was doing. And all of that judgment and shame and the stigma surrounding addiction was just so heavy. So that carried with me when I was in recovery. So when I first got into recovery, I had that same judgment and the stigma and the shame, and doctors judged me in jail and prison. Nurses were a little like that when I first got arrested, and they shouldn't have been. As a medical professional, you should not be hateful or judgmental towards inmates in jail. If you're a nurse or a doctor in jail, you should have compassion and empathy, but every nurse and doctor should have compassion and empathy. I mean, you know, especially when dealing with people that are really struggling. And I was really struggling. So this video is not easy for me to share, but I feel like I should have spoke up sooner. The thing here is, yes, I'm very transparent, but sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to have the courage to just come out and share these things and these aspects of myself and my recovery and my life. So hopefully you guys are not too mad at me that I haven't shared this sooner, but it all comes down to what I am comfortable with at the time. And I know the Ride or Die crew is going to respect that. So again, I'm sorry for not sharing this sooner, but I wasn't ready and I didn't want to talk about it until now. And I think that's just because when I was first starting YouTube, I was just kind of unsure of where to go and how much to share and what I shouldn't share, what I should not share. And yeah, so that's why I'm sharing it now. But if you struggled with substance use disorder and you're in recovery, please go see your doctor, ask for that test. There's no shame in it. And if you have a doctor that is crappy to you, go find another doctor. You have every right to be treated with respect and kindness and compassion and empathy, especially in a doctor's office. I've heard horror stories. I've also experienced some judgment and some shame when I was, in jail and in prison. But if you don't like your doctor and if they don't make you feel comfortable, please find a new doctor. For the love of God. And I have your back 100%, you guys. And just know, if I found recovery, there is no reason why you can't. You're so much stronger than you know. I know this video was kind of short, but I just wanted to get it out and I wanted to be transparent about my struggles in recovery. And a lot of you guys have asked if there are any, health complications because of it. And here is mine. So I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, whatever that looks like to you, because there is no wrong way to recover. Go see your doctor and I will see you in my next one.